show people that this is connected to their everyday life, and it is much bigger and more grand and more wonderful than they ever anticipated. I mean, you've already alluded to it somewhat, but
yeah, I think the reason a lot of people think it's disconnected is because it seems like dry, arcane, theological disputes that don't necessarily connect to just, loving God, loving people, or whatever, however we sum up the, the day-to-day Christian life. And I would be the first to say there are some aspects of theological precision and study and whatnot that really I don't think are necessary to fully grapple with in order to understand and to be able to live well the Christian life. I mean, there's a reason why certain pastors and theologians are called to be pastors and theologians. In part is because that task isn't necessarily, some of the deeper details of that task aren't necessary for everyone. But I would say that I think we have a culture we live in a culture right now that prioritizes whatever seems immediately practical over what would be seen as doctrinal, and not recognizing how doctrine informs and influences practice. So yeah, you can say love God and love your neighbor, but you have to at least ask the question at some point, what does love mean? Like, what is love? You've got to ask the question, who is my neighbor? Does the shape of Christian love look like for this particular neighbor in this particular circumstance? People say, oh, I just want to, all it's important is for me to follow Jesus and, live on mission, share the gospel. Okay. But at some point you've got to define, what is the gospel you're sharing? Who is the Jesus you're following? Jesus himself asks his disciples, who do you say that I am? In a sense, all Christian theology is an answer to that question. So you've got, are you following a Jesus of popular cultural understanding? The Jesus of, just whatever your particular preferences may be. Are you making a Jesus in your own image? I mean, we see all of this taking place in society. So at some, and then the same thing with the mission. Well, what is the mission? What is it? Just evangelism? Is it also serving the poor? Is it serving the needy? Is it a broader mission, a more narrow mission? All of these are questions that it directly impact our practice. And if you say you don't need to grapple with any of that, you just need to keep it simple and do the thing. Well, okay. But at some level, you are adopting a theology and a doctrine that that's all there, whether you recognize it is there or not. And so that's the challenge I think that we've got to hold together.